going on, guys? Jay and Derek with Tap and Turn Gaming coming at you on location from Battleground Games and Hobbies located in Abington, Mass. Today
we have something special for you. We have reached the final game in our Ravnica City of Guilds Battle for Supremacy. So what we're going to do today is give you a pregame show of that upcoming final battle.
So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over each guild's kind of keys to victory, if you will. You know, what Azorius should bring to the table in order to triumph over the Gruul clans and vice versa. How Gruul should approach this matchup against the Azorius to come out on top. So we're going to talk about that. But before we get into that, we're actually going to take a look at the battle board back here and do like a little retrospect of the matchups that led up to this point and talk about it. You know, give you guys our opinions on how we felt the matches should have gone and how they actually did go, you know, etc. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the keys to victory, and we hope you enjoy it. All right, guys, so we're going to be talking about the retrospect on the battle board just to show you how we came to this point. So in Game 1, it was the Simic Combine versus the Azorius Senate. In the very first game, it was a very intense game. It was a lot of back and forth, but eventually Azorius just kind of established its state of control on the board and made it so that Simic couldn't really do much of anything. They didn't allow them to do their experiments per se. They didn't have the proper permits to do it. So in Game 1, Azorius triumphed over the Simic.
Yeah, I personally had it pegged for Simic. I just thought they had enough power via creatures to do it, but they just proved they didn't. Game 2 saw Rakdos Cult versus House Dimir. We both thought this was a shoe-in for Rakdos. Without a shadow of a doubt, we thought Dimir is going to lose. We might as well make them lose in the first round. We thought they'd lose to Rakdos, hands down. But we were very surprised that the stealing maneuvers of Dimir really came through for them. And even though Rakdos came out fairly aggressive as it should, it's just nothing they could really do against Dimir. Once they played that second creature, Dimir took it and took everything from that point on. And there was nothing Rakdos could do but play creatures and give it to Dimir. So that saw Dimir advancing.
And then in our next matchup in Game 3, we had the Boros Legion up against the Selesnya Conclave. I actually kind of pegged the Boros just to come out, hit hard, and just hit so fast and hard that they would just overwhelm the Selesnya. But ultimately, the Selesnya endured, they outlasted, and they overcame the Legion. Boros did come out hitting hard and fast in the beginning of the game, but Selesnya just saw a bunch of non-creature permanent destruction, taking out Boros' land, so they couldn't really play what they wanted to play when they wanted to play it. And just the tokens and the life gain just overcame the Boros Legion. So in Game 3, we saw the Selesnya advance.
Then in Game 4, we had the Golgari Swarm versus the Orzhov Syndicate. I myself had this pegged as a pretty even match. Golgari has a lot of recursion to stay on the board, to stay aggressive, while Orzhov has a lot of drain to keep their life total up, and I thought that would balance out well. And it sort of did in my eyes. It's just that the life drain really took its toll. You know, it gave the Orzhov enough of a shield that could take a few hits while still draining the life of the Golgari, and the Golgari was sort of left wondering where all their life went. And that sort of sealed up that match, and the Orzhov had advanced.
So then in Game 5, we saw the two previous winners of their previous matches, the Selesnya and the Azorius, go head-to-head. In this matchup, it was a pretty close game for a good duration of it. We saw the Selesnya gain upwards over 100 life.
I think they hit 118 was the total.
So something like that, yeah. So all that life gain, it was all for naught once the Azorius established a game-breaking combo that was on the board that allowed them to just rapid-fire bounce every permanent that was on the board on the Selesnya side of the board. So, once that happened, the Selesnya had no choice but to concede the game and give it to the Azorius, and then Azorius would advance. in that round.
To throw it in there, I thought it was one of the more exciting moments that I've seen so far in the battles, because if Azorius didn't get that combo when they did accidentally, they would have lost the next turn. The Celestia just had enough power on the board, enough guys to break through and kill them, but the Azorius just came out that precise moment, you know, that moment when you get the heart of the cards, and they just, that one shining moment where they just took it.
And the law prevailed.
The law prevailed again. So then game 6 saw the previously advanced Dimir versus the previously advanced Orzhov, and this was another one right from the beginning. We said, they must have got lucky, they won't do it again. There's no way they'll beat Orzhov. And it was the same thing. They just started taking all Orzhov's toys one by one, till eventually Orzhov had nothing left to play with, and the Dimir had advanced again. Just like that. So then we had game 7, where it was Dimir again versus Gruul, and we thought, there's no way, not a third time. It's not going to happen. This time you were right. It didn't happen. While Dimir did stave it off for a while, and it looked like they had a chance to steal and pull it through, it was just a clutch primal surge, flipping probably upwards of 15, 20 cards on the Gruul side to flip into a Craterhoof Behemoth and just...
That Craterhoof really did it,
Yeah. It was just, it was enough damage to just put it through, because Gruul had put in a few hits throughout the battle, enough to lower the life total down of Dimir. And for a while it did look close. It looked like Dimir could pull it out, but in the wild card battle, Gruul did pull it out, and they did advance into the finals.
And then in game 8, we saw another wild card matchup of the Is It League up against the Azorius Senate. Undefeated, the Azorius. And this match was probably the most intense match out of all of them that we played out. Azorius did something, Izzet countered it. Izzet did something, Azorius countered it. It was just back and forth, back and forth. At one point, Azorius, went to austere command stuff off the board, and Izzet was like, I'll copy that, and I'll choose all the other modes and blow up all your stuff that you want to keep around.
That was pretty fun.
So, it was just back and forth, back and forth. Probably one of the more fun matchups that I've played, in recent history in Commander. But eventually, Azorius just once again just laid down the law, and once they got to that point where I believe they used a Jace Memory Adept to draw 20 cards just to get an answer, just to end the game right then and there. It ended up being a Elesh Norn in the graveyard and a body double hitting the board, and then as a copy of her, and then a Sakashima as another copy of her, because he gets around that legend rule, and that just kind of sealed the fate of the Izzet League at that point. They had a few tricks up their sleeve right towards the tail end of the game.
16 damage on Izzy Mortars.
And they put up one hell of a fight. It was probably the best matchup so far, but once again, the law prevailed, and the Azorius Senate advanced against the Izzet.
It was one of those matchups of all the people that lost, they probably put up the hardest fight going down.
Hands down.
Without a doubt, yeah.
The Izzet were definitely the biggest challenge for the Azorius Senate, but like we said, just the Azorius just finally established their state of control on the board and just sealed the victory.
Yep.
So, with all that said, that's our final matchup right there. We have the Azorius Senate up against the Gruul clans to determine who is the top dog, the head honcho of all of Ravnica. So stay tuned for the rest of the pregame show, and then after that, we will do the final battle and see who wins.
Yep.
All right, guys, so that concludes our little retrospect on the battle board, so you can see how we got here to this final matchup. But right now, Derek and I are going to talk about our personal opinions on this final matchup and who we think will come out on top. Me personally, it's kind of a tough call for me. With the Azorius deck being my deck, I've seen what it can do. It's undefeated. It wasn't one of the wild card guilds like the Gruul. They kind of just won one matchup and now they're in the finals. But that's how the cards just kind of fell on the table.
Shots fired.
No pun intended.
Yeah, shots fired.
But the Azorius, they won 3 matches to get this far. Not, knocking on Gruul. Gruul is one hell of a guild as well, but it's just like I personally feel like it might be a tough battle. It could go either way, but I really do believe that the Azorius will probably end up on top in this battle. I mean, they've just been tried and true. They've went up against, Simic and came out on top. Went up against Selesnya with all the tokens and life gain and came out on top. And then the Izzet matchup, which was just one hell of a matchup, back and forth, and they just established their state of control. What they're all about is just letting you not do what you want to do. And they won all 3 of their matchups to get this far. So, I mean, me personally, I think Azorius and Isperia Supreme Judge will come out on top in this battle. What do you think, Derek?
I tend to agree. I think they have shown themselves to be good. They've won many different ways. They've won through straight up control. They've won through slight control while being aggressive. They've won through an oops, I win combo. And it really was like that too. It wasn't planned out, it just happened. But I think what Gruul brings to the table is their aggression. They have a lot of haste, a lot of outlets for haste. So there'll be a little less time for the Azorius to be reactive. Azorius is a very reactive guild. Gruul is very proactive. They're just going to hit the ground and go. And I think that could be the only downfall that Azorius sees, is that Gruul is so aggressive. They have, I don't know, 4 or 5 haste outlets that give all the creatures haste. I mean, they have a lot of weapons in the table, and their creatures just get progressively bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's true.
The Azorius deck features a lot of smaller utility guys that bring cool tricks to the table, but the Gruul deck, it really just gets bigger guys and bigger guys and bigger guys with meaner abilities and bigger guys, and it's tough to say, because I want to say if the game goes late, Azorius is going to win. If the game goes quick, Gruul will win. But it could be just the opposite. As the game gets later and Gruul starts just dropping bigger guys, it's maybe hard to stop. I mean, my opinion pick goes to Azorius. I think they're just going to win, go undefeated, take home the championship, go to Disneyland, all that stuff. But I don't know. I have this thought in the back of my head that Gruul's going to go Hulk style and just smash.
I could definitely see what you're saying. Gruul is just super, super aggressive. They might just hit the ground so fast and so hard that the Azorius won't be able to establish their state of control on the board like they've shown in the past. I mean, Azorius never really won quick in any of their matchups. Against Simic or Selesnya or Izzet. All those matchups were pretty drawn out. And at some points during the battle with the Izzet, I really thought that the Azorius were gonna lose, and they were gonna get that close to the final round and lose to the wild card, and then we'd have the 2 wild cards going up against each other. But they pulled it out. They really did. They laid down the law. But I definitely see what you're saying, Derek. If Gruul just ramps out into those big nasty dudes and just keeps repeatedly dropping them, it could spell the end of the day for the Azorius and send them home packing.
I mean, yeah, one thing to note that we haven't really mentioned is that all the previous matches that Azorius had to face, none of those were aggressive guilds. The Simic is more of a mid-range, Izzet's more of a mid-range, Selesnya is more of a long-range token deck. They haven't gone up an aggressive deck yet because they never had to face Boros on that side because Selesnya took them out. So this will be a good test for them because they haven't gone up against an aggressive style deck with huge crazy fatties. So we'll definitely see. It could go either way, but there you have it. Derek and I both seem to think that the Azorius are going to pull this one out. They're just going to, the tried and true fashion of just controlling the board and, not letting your opponent do what they want to do. But, like we said, it could go either way. Gruul could just come out of the gate, Hulk style, and just smash the Azorius to bits and take home the victory. But, so that's our personal picks on, what we think is going to happen. But now we're kind of going to go into another little segment here for our pregame show of keys to victory for each guild. How Azorius should approach things and
how the Gruul should approach things. So let's take a look at that. All right, guys, so now we're going to go over the keys to victory, so to say, for each guild. So I'm going to be talking about the bullet points for Azorius, and Derek will talk about Gruul. So first up for Azorius, the first bullet point that we came up with is they're going in undefeated. You know, they're tried and true. They've won all 3 of their matchups, you know, to get to this point. You know, Gruul won 1 matchup to get to this point, but, you know, that's just how the cards fell, you know, so, I mean, not saying Gruul is bad. They're very, very good, but, you know, you guys have seen the matchups Azorius has gone into, and you've seen them just pull it out. So, you know, that's bullet point number 1. Number 2 is utilize control. That's what the Azorius is all about. They're all about control on the board. So if they can establish that state of control on the board before Gruul can, you know, hit the ground running, I feel like it's, you know, a sealed deal if they can get their control elements on the board and just shut out the Gruul clans. Number 3 is summon Asperia. The big thing about Gruul is they like to turn big guys sideways over and over and over. Asperia, whenever you or one of your planeswalkers gets attacked, you draw a card. So, you know, that's just going to be helping than hurting, I would say. Yeah, you're getting attacked by big, huge dudes, but Asperia, if she's on the board, she's going to let you draw cards and potentially get answers to those big, nasty creatures that are coming at you. So that's bullet point number 3 is get your commander on the board. Number 4, we have clone effects. With it being partially a blue deck, you know, there's almost every single clone in that deck. So it would definitely benefit the Azorius to use some of Gruul's own toys against them. You know, oh, Gruul just dropped a Crater of Behemoth or something like that, something big and huge and nasty. Oh, well, I'll clone it and make one for myself and use it against you too. So, I mean, that's definitely one thing that could swing the tide of battle in the Azorius' favor if they, you know, are backpedaling and they're up against the wall. Number 5, we have Flickr Effects. So, you know, in the Azorius deck, you guys have seen there's lots of Flickr effects. There's Ghostly Flicker, Cloud Shift, Mist Meadow Witch, Flicker Wisp, you know, the list goes on. Venser the Sojourner, he flickers stuff too. So, I mean, there's a lot of those types of effects in the deck, and those will allow the Azorius to keep reusing their toys. You know, stuff that has Enter the Battlefield abilities, those types of things will allow you to reuse them and, you know, keep getting more options on the board. And lastly, we have Wind Reaver. And pretty much all the matchups that we've seen, that Wind Reaver comes down and he gets cast. He's just a menacing threat. He really is. You know, he may not seem like it as a 1/3 flyer, but all the abilities that he has where he can give himself vigilance, he can pump his defense, then he can switch his power and toughness, and then he can bounce to your hand. Oh, you're going to kill him? I'll bounce him to my hand. Oh, you have no blocks? Well, I'll pump his defense a bunch of times, then switch his power and toughness and hit you for more damage. He's just so tricksy, and he's proven himself to be an MVP in the deck for going in for that damage. So those are our 6 bullet points of keys to victory for Azorius. Derek, take it away from Gruul.
So we have Gruul, obviously. Their first bullet point rather is their aggression. They're going to come out and almost, I'd say half the time, they have a haste effect down. So when a guy comes down, he's going to attack. That's going to not give Azorius that moment to react. A lot of time you play a guy, and then your opponent has the chance to answer on their turn or draw into an answer. With that aggression factor, that fact that they're going to have so much haste, they're going to come down and get in for a hit or get in an attack and trigger their ability, and then Azorius has to answer it after they've already been dealt that damage or taken that hit. So that could be a big factor. The next one we have is their game-changing walkers, and what we mean by that is...
Walkers.
The walkers are coming. The Gruul deck runs 4 planeswalkers, the Azorius deck only runs 2, so if Gruul can get all of them down, that's 4 free spells a turn to do whatever they need. Or tokens, or stealing, because they have all manner of planeswalkers that do all manner of things, and they really add a lot of utility to the deck that Gruul doesn't have on its own. So if they start getting dropped, it'll be a big deal for Gruul. It really will. It could really change the tide. Their next one is that they blow shit up. There's probably 10-15% of the deck that is a creature tacked on to an ability that's going to take out some kind of permanent, be it lands, creatures, artifacts, enchantments. They're going to just blow stuff up, and that's going to, you know, almost like 2-for-1 your opponent. If I play a creature and destroy your land, now I'm up a card. So that little bit of card advantage, they may not be drawing a lot of cards, but setting you back is almost going to do the same for them. You know, the haste effects we did talk about a lot with the aggression, but it's, you got to reiterate that point. That's really what they bring to the table is those haste effects that they're going to come down, they're going to swing, they're going to be aggressive, and it's really going to be a big deal for them. The next one, Primal Surge.
Primal Surge.
This deck was partially built with Primal Surge in mind. There is Primal Surge, and then there are maybe 4 or 5 other sorceries in instance. So when you cast Primal Surge, there's a good chance you're going to flip a quarter of the deck, easy. And I've seen it happen. I've seen it get cast and flip 30 cards on the table before it hits a spell. And then when you do that, you're probably going to flip into a haste effect. It's game over at that point. It's nothing you're really going to do.
As you guys saw in the matchup against Dimir, once that Primal Surge came down, Dimir was all done. There's nothing they could really do.
From that point, they didn't even get that turn to respond because of the haste. Primal Surge, haste is usually a done deal. And their last bullet point that we could really come up with was that they have a lot of hard hitting into the battlefield abilities. Every creature in this deck has an ability tacked onto it. Whether it's destroying something or dealing damage or enabling something else to happen, literally every creature has an enter the battlefield ability. And it runs something like, it runs like a birthing pod to be able to chain into certain creatures, or it just runs so many cards that just have huge enter the battlefield abilities and the ability to tutor out the specific creature that they need at that specific time through all the green creature tutors that are available. It's just, they have a lot of tricks, just not a lot of control tricks.
It's true. You know, I mean, just one I can think of off the top of my head for Gruul is if you have a Bow of Nelia down and you start attacking with an Inferno Titan, you're killing 3 things on the spot. It's just, that's huge. Just being able to turn one guy sideways if you have one other permanent on the board and just destroy any 3 creatures, that's huge. You know, not to mention, you know, you got like Craterhoof Behemoth and stuff like that. You know, they've got a lot of hard-hitting enter the battlefield stuff, and that could really, you know, cause a problem for the Azorius.
Even small little nuances like that. Like one of the other tricks they have is just having down Gruul Rage Beast and then casting Hornet Queen. Because Gruul Rage Beast is down, you cast Hornet Queen, you just got 5 Death Touchers that are all going to deal damage to 5 different creatures. They're going to kill those 5 creatures with a Death Touch. So you just paid 7 mana to kill 5 creatures. I take it, you know, every time. It's cool stuff like that. Cool little, you know, nuances and synergies in the deck that really help it push forward and be aggressive.
All right, so there's our 6 bullet points for each guild for their keys to victory for this final battle for supremacy. So yeah, I mean, that's that. All right, guys, so now we're actually going to do something a little cool. We're going to go out onto the floor of the Battlegrounds, and we're going to ask some of the store employees and some of the customers, you know, their opinion on what they think is going to happen and who they think is going to win between the battle of ultimate control over ultimate aggression. So let's go hit the floor and see what people think. All right, guys, so we're out here on the floor at the Battlegrounds, and we're going to talk to a few people and see what they think, see who's going to win Azorius versus Gruul. So tell us your name and who you think is going to win this battle.
My name is Kale Aquadara. I'm the assistant manager at Battleground Games and Hobbies. I think that the Azorius deck might have the edge here. With all the wrath effects, it's going to be a tough day for the Gruul deck. But I'm hoping the aggro deck can get there.
So there you have it. That's Kale's pick. He believes Azorius is going to win. All right, so tell us your name and who you think is going to win this Ravnica Battle for Supremacy matchup.
My name is Mark Briley, and I think that Azorius will run rings around the Gruul.
There you have it. Another vote for Azorius. All right, so there you have it, guys. Not too many people at the Battlegrounds tonight, but it's whatever. We got 2 other people's opinions aside from myself and Derek's, and as you guys saw, every single person concurs with they believe that the Azorius is going to take this victory. But like we said, it could go either way. The Gruul could just surprise us all and just come out smashing things and just take the Azorius out. So. Those are the opinions. Let's see if all those opinions are accurate and see if the Azorius pull out this victory.
Yeah, I mean, it's, Azorius is going in undefeated, so they already have that swagger about them that they haven't been touched. Have 100% of the votes, so Gruul goes in only having 1 win. They kind of cheated their way in being the wild card, and no one thinks they can do it, so they come in as the supreme underdog. So, the underdog versus the top dog. We're going to see how it goes.
All right. So hope you guys enjoyed the opinions of the other people here at the Battlegrounds. All right, guys, so that pretty much sums up the bulk of our little pregame show for this final showdown. We hope you guys enjoyed watching this pregame show as much as we did about making it. It was really fun to do this. But now we're going to get into the final battle. Azorius versus Gruul, and we're going to find out who is the ultimate champion of Ravnica, who has complete and utter supremacy over the plane of Ravnica. So stay tuned for the battle.
And then one final little announcement is, at the time of filming this, we're currently at 158 subscribers, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a 200 subscriber giveaway. So the way we're going to do that is, once we get to 200 subscribers, we're going to pick one of our random subscribers, and we're going to send them out a few rares. Nothing crazy, just a little thank you for subscription. But that's what we plan on doing. So once we get to 200 subscribers, the next video after that, we're going to announce the winner. So, like, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends, and possibly just get some free stuff for, clicking a button.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we really do love making these videos for you guys. Me personally, I love all the positive feedback we're getting. Whether it be, hey guys, great job on the video, we really liked it, or, even just constructive criticism on some of our stuff. When we first started some of our gameplays, it was just real rudimentary. We didn't really have any overlays or anything like that. Card images, people suggested that, life totals on the screen, stuff like that. I mean, we went ahead and we bought the software that we needed to get to make that happen for you guys, so you were enjoying the videos more. So we really do love putting out these videos for you guys. I mean, Magic is one of our passions. We really do love playing it. We love talking about it. So yeah, just give us a thumbs up, tell your friends about us, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. We really do appreciate it. So thanks a lot, and stay tuned.
Let the games begin!